Hey horror fans, once again it is me, the Horror Miser Monty G. It's time to review another horror movie. Yes, it is the remake of 1995 Stuart Gordon's Castlefreak. Yes! Now, Castlefreak is a 2020 horror film. It was directed by Tate Steinsick, I think I pronounced his name right, and written by Kathy Charles. It stars Claire Catherine, Jake Horowitz, Jinty Kame, and Chris Gullis. Yes, this is a remake of the 1995 Full Moon production directed by Stuart Gordon's Castlefreak. But in this one, an Albanian castle with a bloodthirsty creature is inherited by a young woman. That's basically what the plot of the movie is. Now, during the 80s and 90s, Stuart Gordon was well known throughout the horror community, mainly due to his H.P. Lovecraft films, Reanimator, From Beyond, Castlefreak, and some few others too. He and Brian Yerkser, I believe, were huge fans of H.P. Lovecraft stories. While those films might not have been excellent movies, they have become cult favorite classics mainly amongst horror fans. Now, when I learned that a remake to his 1995 film Castlefreak was being made, and the fact that horror icon Barbara Crampton, who actually starred in the original, was producing it, I was a bit excited. So, of course, last night I sat down and watched Castlefreak, and here's what I have to say about Castlefreak 2020. So after an opening prologue where we see a woman, I believe she could be a nun, we don't know. She's praying in front of an altar. And after beating the crap out of a deformed person in the basement, she herself is killed, and we're introduced to Rebecca Waitley and her drug-addicted boyfriend John and their friends. Now, after a terrible car accident leaves her blind, she and John travel to Albania, where she learns that she has inherited a huge castle from her birth mother. We find out later that she was adopted and really didn't know that much about her. However, unknown to both her and John, there is still someone living in the walls of the castle, and we spend the rest of the film learning on who this person is. Secrets about Rebecca's past is revealed, and what happens throughout the whole entire movie. That's basically what we see throughout this film. Now, the one thing I did like about the film is the cinematography. They really did a good job of making this film look like an 80s film. There's very gothic style scenery there. Reminds me of some of the films that you saw from Hammer films. Very gothic, so almost similar to how The Nun did it and how they filmed their scenes in the castle. Now, the castle itself also sets the tone and the atmosphere that you need for a movie like this. You know, the hidden hallways, the dark and creepy looking artifacts, the creepy looking interior, so that the castle itself is a character of the film. And I like the style and the aesthetics that they did and how they filmed the movie. Unfortunately, one of the problems in this film is the story itself. Now, as I stated earlier, I like the fact that that writer Kathy Charles decided to keep some aspects of the original film while adding something new. Unlike in the first film where we actually had a family dynamic, and that Jeffrey Combs, who was the father, he was the reason why their son was blind. But this one, here we have a woman, Rebecca, she's blind because of her drunk boyfriend. Unfortunately, there is no character development, as we simply do not care what happens to any of them, and the story is convoluted at times. That's just my opinion. There's something not enough in the story itself. Unlike the original, which was very compelling, you had a family dynamic, and we cared about what happened to the family. Here, we really don't care what happens to John or their friends. And you can also blame the actors, since all of them are flat and they give meh performances. I mean, there's no real emotion coming from any of the characters, and they don't provide anything that will allow the audience to give a shit about what happens to them. They're just there to be fodder for the Castlefreak. Now, newcomer Claire Catherine, who plays Rebecca, tries but fails, and her performance to me is kind of dull and uninteresting. I know she really tries to do a good job, and sometimes we do feel sorry for her based upon the position that she's in, but she really doesn't do enough to make the audience care. And worst off, she does a terrible job in convincing the audience that she's blind. I mean, we're not even convinced halfway through the film that she's blind. I mean, if you really want to see a decent performance of a blind person, please check out my good friends Ivan's The Movie Voice film, Blind. If you want to see an actual actress give a good portrayal about being a blind person, watch that film. Now, at least the creature and makeup effects were great, and it reminds me of the makeup effects that we saw back in the 80s. I dig the creature effects, and plus we get some decent kills in the film, even if they happen off camera. It's like you see the creature, when the creature attacks, we see her swipe, but the next thing you know, we don't see the actual blows land. The next scene is cut, then we see a whole bunch of gore effects, which I don't mind. You know, obviously they had to save some money, so they couldn't do it all together. So we see the creature or whatever happens to the person. Next thing you know, either they got the guts ripped out, or there's some other ripped out, or their face is all peeled off. I thought it was okay. I can live with that. Also, I thought this was supposed to be a horror film, not a soft porn film that we haven't seen since the good old days of Skinamax. I mean, come on now. Where's the horror? I mean, yeah, you know, we've seen sex before, but this was on the verge of Skinamax. So, despite this decent setting and some nice changes from the original film, this was a poor attempt at trying to remake one of Stuart Gordan's favorite films. And I'm not even going to talk about that post-credit scene that happens at the end of the movie. I'm pretty sure if you've seen the movie, you know what the hell I'm talking about. So, I'm going to give Castlefreak 2020 1.5 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Only 1.5 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Just, I don't know what they're attempting to do. I'm pretty sure that they probably had a good idea and they probably looked good on paper, but it was terribly executed. And again, that post-scene credit, oh, well. What are you going to do? So there you have it. That's my review of Castlefreak 2020. What did you guys think about it? Did you enjoy it? Did you like the fact that did you like this was a pretty good remake, or were you like me and this was a film that should have been touched or remade? Leave your comments in your comment section below and tell me what you thought about Castlefreak 2020. So that's my review for today, guys. Hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, and share. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button and ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put up new videos such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules! And I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.